Well, hello. I would say happy Monday, as is my usual way of greeting people, but it's actually been absolutely throwing it down. And as it's Monday, I'm supposed to be going to the library to meet my friends at Knit Club. But when it was time for me to leave to get on my folding scooter to get to the tram, it was throwing it down. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not being just rain, throwing it down, hammering it down, whatever you want to say. So I thought, no, no, I don't mind getting wet on the way home, but I don't want to get wet on the way there and have to sit at the library in wet clothes all day. Hmm. Anyway, that out of the way. I have finally finished the pink sweater. I'm trying to look into the camera, not over here, because the camera's never quite facing where I am. But never mind. Anyway, I finally finished the pink knitted sweater. It's drying at the moment on my bed, on a towel. Just clear that up on a towel on the bed. And I will show it to you when it's dried. Or I will model it, maybe if you're lucky, or lucky, whichever way. It seemed to take me forever. Because, and yet people have said to me at Knit Club, aren't you a quick knitter? But because it was a lacy pattern and I had to concentrate a little bit more, brain power gone. It did seem to take me forever. Anyway, what have I been doing? What have I been up to? Well, yesterday I meant to go into the back garden and tidy up because we had such horrendously high winds over the weekend. And everything in the garden, as you know, I've got no garden at the back, I've only got a back courtyard. So everything is in plant pots. And of course, the plant pots went for a whiz round the garden, well, round the yard, because it was so windy. The poor little tomatoes, they were on their last legs, to be truthful, but the whole thing just fell over and what's left of the tomatoes are kind of gone. But I'll see if I can salvage them later. So today I thought, right, go on, put your big girl pants on and get out there and sort it out. And of course it hammered it down with rain, so I don't know whether the universe likes me and says, no, Janet, have a rest. Your back's not been good, have a rest. You don't, you don't want to do stupid things like that. But I will have to get around to it. As I will have to get round to mopping the kitchen floor, which I didn't do at the weekend either, or hoovering, which again I didn't do at the weekend either. So what did I do? Well, finished off the pink sweater on Saturday before I came on the live, and then I started crocheting, or as Canadian crocheter says, crocheting, yeah. So, as you know, I've been ordering from Wool Warehouse, but there are other sites that sell it, depending on what you can get. Because I know if you're in America, because of the tariffs and stuff like that, you can't get things anymore, can you? So anyway, I'm using the lovely boho. Oh, you can't see it very well, can you? The lovely boho Spirit, and the colour is 6875, and it's called Wicked. Oh, can you see? The camera's quite dark, isn't it? Can you see? Oh no, you can't. If I go further towards the camera, it gets worse. Anyway, those are the colours. So I started knitting it. No, I didn't. I started crocheting it on live on Saturday night. So I've got this bit to the bit where I stop now, because if you've ever crocheted a hexagon jacket, you know you cannot keep on going and going and going, or you finish up with sleeves that are way too wide. So what you have to do is stop what you're doing at a certain size, and then you add on to the back and the front, to make it wide enough at the back, and then you have to add on to the sleeves to make the sleeves long enough. But if you carry on going in the hexagon, it finishes up way, way, way too wide for me on the sleeves. Maybe that's the style that you like. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that you follow what I do. Everybody does it their own way, don't they? And it's a very versatile pattern. It doesn't matter really what yarn you use, as long as you use an appropriate hook for the size of yarn you're using. I am a little bit of a slack crocheter, so I tend to go onto a smaller hook than most people would, yeah. For example, if it says 5mm, I'll use 450 or 4. So on this one, the wool actually is branded and sold as Aran. No way is it Aran. It's a find, wasn't it, really? You know, so I don't know why they say it's an Aran. But anyway, this is one side I've done. So I've stopped. My ball's still attached. The yarn is still attached. I've still, you know, and I'm on my 4mm hook. And I have actually started the other piece. But I've only got to be. This is what it looks like when you're making it. It's like a granny square, but it's got 6 sides instead of 4, yeah? So if you've not made one before and you're wondering, you know, when you start off it looks kind of like a baby cardigan, doesn't it really? Like a little baby's cardigan it starts off. I did try to get it similar, but it's not going to be the same 2 sides together, but I don't think it really matters. You know, when you're using something so colourful. I mean, I watched the lady from Create and Cuppa, as she called Create and a Cuppa. And she suggests if you're doing it with oddments or you're doing it in stripes that you work both of these hexagons at the same time, so that you're sure that you've got the colours in the same sequence, or you've got enough of your oddments to finish a row of each side, so you don't have 2 odd sides. Unless, of course, that's the way you want to do it. If you want to do it higgledy-piggledy, that's your choice altogether. But I'm a bit more, I won't say matchy-matchy, I'm a bit more regimented in what I do, that I like everything to be sort of. I'm the same with socks, really. I try to kind of sort of match the stripes up. I'm not absolutely, you know, pedantic about it, absolutely matching row for row, but I do like the stripes to be in a similar sort of, not bother about the foot bit, because the foot bit's in your shoe, but you know, on the bit on your leg that kind of may show, although usually it doesn't, because usually I wear my socks with trousers, yeah. Oh, right, anyway. While we're on the subject of clothes, I had on yesterday a pair of trousers, a top that's kind of matched in a sort of way. Oh, I'm a bit lopsided. Kind of matched in a sort of way, but it didn't really. And then I was cold, so I had to put a cardigan on, and the cardigan didn't match either. And you know, I felt miserable all day. Absolutely miserable. You're probably going to laugh because it probably doesn't affect you. But what I wear does affect the way that I feel and the way that I am. You know, if I'm not dressed in a certain way, you maybe think I'm crazy. Yeah, well, I probably am. But if I'm not dressed in a certain way that I like, that makes me feel happy, I'm miserable. And all yesterday I kept thinking, what is wrong with you, Janet? You're just feeling so down, so depressed. And when I came to get undressed last night, I thought, this is it. You're mismatched. You're all over the place with your colours. You just aren't right, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll happily clash if that's what I intend. But if I don't intend, this is it. So what have I been doing? Well, I've been very naughty. I've been on Wool Warehouse yet again. Well, it's in the sale, so it'd be rude to leave it there when it's something that you like, yeah. But today I've written the colours onto things, yeah. Now I ordered 3, as you know, I showed you on my last video, so I ordered another 3. Yeah, whoa, silly me, yeah. I'll never be rich. I'll regret this when I'm not eating next week, but never mind. That's not the point. So anyway, I ordered some more. But as you know, I'd already got, was it Bounce I already had? So I ordered another one which looked completely different on the web page, and it's called Shout. Bounce is colour 1F001, Shout is colour 1F014. Don't they look alike? There are slight differences in this one's got like a purpley pink in it and this one doesn't. But aren't they alike? I won't say disappointed because I never am with wool. You're never disappointed, are you? Unless it's itchy and scratchy and horrible. But don't they look alike? You know, I thought, oh, blimey. So, anyway, this one's bounce, and that one's I'm out of camera. This one's bounce, this one's shout. Shout, shout, let it all out. So, I haven't decided what I'm going to do with those two yet. Put them over there. This one, I have decided what I'm going to do with it. I've got a crochet sweater pattern that I bought from Etsy top down. If you really want to know and ask me, I'll tell you what it was, but I haven't. It's not off pattern. I haven't printed it out. I think it was called the Amora sweater or the Amora sweater. No, the Amaya sweater. Amaya, Amaya sweater. It is a paid for pattern, and it's on Etsy, so it's not too dear, but it's not cheap, if you know what I mean. But you have to pay for it if you want it, don't you? So this one's greens and blues. And I've got green trousers and I've got a green skirt. So, and I've also got blue trousers, but they're actually a bit darker blue than that. So I would be matchy matchy. Hello. Come winter, because I'm thinking about winter now, because we're September and it's gone a lot colder, hasn't it? I've got a cardigan over my dress. Yeah, my dress. It's got white in it. I've put a white belt on it because it's one of the dreaded Shein dresses that has no shape. So I've got an elasticated belt around the waist, trying to give it some structure. And I'm wearing a white beads to make it look a bit more glam. Oh, I don't know why I buy them from that place. I really don't. When I say I'm never disappointed with wool, I was disappointed with the clothing. Yeah. I actually got asked to do a review of my skirt from Moonbeams and Mayhem. Now that is a shop that is up my street. It wouldn't be up most people's because you're not boho, you're not hippie, you're not whatever, you like maybe wear plain things. I am a hippie at heart. I've not moved on from the 60s. I would be dressed like her from Fleetwood Mac. What was she called? Oh, I can't think of her name now, but you know who I mean. The one who wore lace wedding dresses and things on stage. She is my idol. I would dress like her every day of the week if I could, yeah. Lots of lace. Not punk steampunk, although I do love the hats. You know, the ones with the, what they call, goggles on top. The one with a long black thing. Look a bit like a funeral hat, don't they? But they've got the goggles on top. Somebody asked me on Saturday, was I a steampunk? And I said, no, I'm not, but I do love a lot of the clothes. You know, when they wear the black lace and the, what's it? Oh, yeah. Anything lace. Yeah, even my wedding dress wasn't lace, but then I wasn't, well, I kind of wasn't into the boho as much then. I was when I was younger because I used to love going to London. At the time, it's my ex-husband now, but at the time my husband was working in London. He working away because he worked for the post office, he worked on the telephones. And they wanted people to go down on a temporary basis, so he actually lived down in London for about 18 months, 2 years. And of course, I used to get a cheap ticket, go down to see him a few weekends. My son used to stay with my mum and dad because he loved going to them. And I would love Carnaby Street. Carnaby Street now, no, don't bother. It's just not like it was. But Carnaby Street back in the day, it was all Zandra Rhodes, Mary Quant. They were on the up and up then. They weren't as well known, you know, Bieber. And the clothes weren't as expensive. I mean, now you'd have to have a bank loan, wouldn't you, to buy anything from these designers. But back then, they're probably copies, yeah. But you could walk down Carnaby Street and buy the most beautiful things. And I had a thing back then for, I don't know whether if you're old enough to remember cheesecloth that was all embroidered. Oh, sadly, none of it lasted. Because, to be quite honest, deodorant back in the day had something in it and it used to make your clothes go black under the arms. And I used to scrub them, and of course if you scrubbed them too much and it was cheesecloth, it just went in holes. So sadly nothing of my cheesecloth survived, except one skirt. I've still got one skirt. I don't wear it because it only comes to the knee. And I keep thinking, what can I do to make that floor length? Maybe find some very wide lace, you know, that could go around the bottom. That's a thought, Janet, isn't it? That's a thought. Maybe you could go Amazon or eBay, and here we go again, look for some nice wide lace, because there's not the same shops around here. When I lived in Prestwich, I could go to Manchester and buy things like that, you know, buy the lace, buy whatever. Here it's a little more difficult, yeah. I'd have to go online and hope that when it arrives it's what you ordered, yeah. Anyway, the other three colours I've got in what I was talking about, it's called Yarnsmith Play Double Knit, if I didn't mention it before. This one is called Sing. It's oranges and it's purples. It may look blue on camera, but it's actually purple there. So that is quite nice. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with them as yet. This one I think will actually be another hexy cardigan. Yeah, I know I'm just doing one, but this is a different colour altogether, isn't it? And I do wear a lot of purple, as you may know if you know me long enough. This one's Dive, and I bought this one before. This one is 1F010. Oh, I didn't tell you what that one was. This one is Sing, and this is 1F015. They're on offer at the moment at $1.99 for 100 gram, which I don't think is bad at all. But you have to order £30 worth to get free postage, otherwise you have to pay postage. But sadly, as somebody from the US pointed out to me on Saturday, they can't get it at the minute. But I believe that firms in the UK, don't quote me on this, are trying to work out a way around, you know whose tariffs, yeah? Won't mention any names, but you will both all know what I mean, yeah. So this is what I may make another hexagon. Because it's just my kind of colours, yeah. And then the last one, because I ordered 6, the last one is called Dance. And this is 1F006. It's got very, I hope it's not too dark. It's because it's raining outside, it's dulled to the sun. Very nice and jazzy, isn't it? As I say, I have not decided quite what I'm going to make with them. You know, I'll let you know as I go along, yeah. What else did I order? Well, I ordered this, but I've not played it yet. Christian's Colour. You know I like the Christians, yeah. It's not a new CD. In fact, I had to wait quite a while because I think it came from America, I'm not sure. It came from somewhere that took about a week and a half to get here. And then once again, I have been on Awesome Books. It's a nice cheap website if you're in the UK, Awesome Books. They do well, modern books which are more full price, and then they do the second-hand ones which are fairly cheap for books, yeah. I bought this one which is called Knit to Fit and Flatter. I quite liked the one that was on the front cover. And the one on the back cover's not bad either. I mean, some of them I won't knit at all, but there are some that I quite like. I mean, that one I quite like, but I don't like the way the buttons are so close to the edge. You might pull a bit, you know, if you've got a bazzoom, yeah. They might pull a little bit. But there are some nice things in here. I mean, there's another one there that's quite nice, but again, you know, I don't know whether I like it being open all the way down. Can you see it? I mean, knit. I mean, it took me ages to knit that last pink thing, so why am I thinking about knitting again? I don't really know. But I do have these mad flights of fancy from now and again, you know. I do, every now and again think it might be a good idea to do some knitting. And then it hurts my hands and I think, why did you do that? I mean, again, that's quite pretty. Again, it's got one button very close to the edge. If I did it, I'd put my button a bit further in so it doesn't pull quite so much. But I think that's done in a fine yarn. I mean, double knit for me for knitting is as much as I go, yeah. And that one's, if you like, I won't say hanky pointed, it's got long fronts on the cardigan. I've got a couple of bought cardigans like that, and I never know quite whether to tie them in a bow round the waist or what to do. This is the wrap over lace edge that I liked on the front cover, because you don't get to look in the book when you're ordering them. It's quite nice, but I don't think I like the tie all round the back. But I suppose you don't need to do that, do you? You know, the way it wraps all the way around and ties again. Maybe. Yeah. There are some nice things in. There's some that I wouldn't knit like that. It's not me, it's too young probably. Let's be honest about it. I wouldn't knit that one. As I say, too young for me, too young. I mean, that's pretty, but it's done in something fluffy, so that rules Itchy Coo Me out altogether. So that was Knit to Knit and Flatter by a lady called Jane Ellison. I think I only paid about £4 for it, something ridiculous. You have to pay postage, by the way, on. But they also do a thing at the moment. If you buy 3 books, they offer you one for free. You can only choose from a certain selection of the ones for free, but you can get one for free. This one says easy knitting for the weekend, which I thought, hello, easy knitting, that's Janet, all right, isn't it, you know. But I don't know whether there's anything in I would knit. I'm just, well, there is kind of thing, because that's cute, isn't it? I haven't got a doggy, but that's cute. I wouldn't say it was easy knitting if you've not knitted before, doing patchwork, but you know. It's got scarves in it, it's got cushions in it, it's got all the usual stuff that they say is easy to knit. You know, like, I never did understand why you would knit cakes, but if you want to knit cakes, there you go. And then they've got egg cozies. I mean, the cushions are nice if that's what you're into. It's an Aran cushion in a bright colour. I never did, because I've always had pets, you know, and pets pull holes in your cushions, don't they? And I thought that was a hot water bottle cover, but it's actually a doorstop. You'd have to weigh it down with something really heavy, wouldn't you? I mean, these are okay if you've got lots and lots of bits of fine yarn, because I think they're done in, well, we would call it 4-ply, America would call it fingering. They're quite cute, aren't they? But it says how to make a giant key tassel. We'd need a Mora, wouldn't we, to go and get us some sequin yarn from Turkey, wouldn't we, to do that? Oh, I'm so envious of her going to Turkey. So envious. Now that's a scented sachet. I quite like that. I don't know whether I'd use it as a sachet, but it's quite sweet, isn't it, with the little pansies, I think, on it. And then you've got the socks, socks. There's always socks in there in every bag. These are pretty if you want something for a little gift for someone. Shaker hearts. What else would I make? I don't think I'd make knitted slippers. Well, there's just a hat, so that's quite a useful hat. Quite like the shape of it at the top. You know, it looks as though it fits nicely, doesn't it? I mean, some hats are big and floppy, aren't they? They fall over your eyes, but this one looks quite firm. Looks as though it's got to keep the wind out, especially if you've got like double piece over your ears. I'm all for keeping the wind out, yeah. I can't see the point of egg cozies. I'm sorry, but I don't, yeah. You know, if I'm having a boiled egg, I'm eating it right away. I'm not keeping it warm with a cosy. You know. So I think an exotic makeup bag, I mean, you'd have to line it with plastic, wouldn't you? This looks very pretty, but yeah, hey ho. Anyway, that one is easy knitting in a weekend. And another one I bought, which is a bit daft of me really, because I don't really knit many socks, is socks part 2. But they're more the complex socks, these, you know, more fancy. You know, like penguin slipper socks. I think this might find its way to somebody who actually knits socks, this one. And I mean, you know, going to all that trouble. Domino square socks. Oops. Can't turn a page. I mean, those are quite nice, the lavender lace. Oh, I forgot to turn my phone off, sorry. Lavender lace socks are quite nice. But I'm more of a... I think there's a pair of ribbed socks in here that I would knit. Where have they gone? Oh, you've got medieval knee socks. They'd keep you warm, wouldn't they, in the house without, when the heating, you can't put it on because you can't afford it, you know what I mean? They'd keep me nice and warm. I mean, they're pretty, but they're only children's. With the fair owl cuff. They'd be nice on your boots, wouldn't they? You know, with the fair owl top over the top of your ankle boot. They'd be nice, wouldn't they? I've only got little feet, maybe I could adapt. Yeah. Zigzag socks, yeah. Yeah, that's the only time I really wear socks is in the winter time when I've got my boots on, my ankle boots. Those are the ones I would probably knit. Basic ribbed socks. Because they look like they would grip well on your leg, wouldn't they? Oh God, where am I going with this? There. They look like they grip well, don't they? And then the last book I bought is called Home Decorations in Crochet. Thinking, hello, crochet something, Janet, crochet. But instead of which we get cupcake pot holders. No, might burn my fingers with them. The 3 doily set is very pretty. It's on charts and that, but aren't they pretty? Those I would like, those are just me. You know, I think, yeah, they might get done. Janet is not averse to a doily in a nice boho-y colour. Although I do like the lacy ones, you know, the ones that your auntie used to make or your grandma. I mean, I had some, unfortunately, in the move from Prestwich to Fleetwood, a lot of my embroidered tablecloths and my doilies and everything just went missing. Oh, hello, it's raining hard again. I'm glad I didn't go. Glad I didn't go to the library. I would have got wet through again. Again, we're on egg cozies. Ooh, please tell me in the comments if you ever make egg cozies. Please tell me. Oh, can you hear it? It's absolutely hammering it down. Now that's pretty for a cushion if you like that. Crochet cushion. Oh my giddy aunt. That is really wet you through weather. I'm sure you could probably hear it. And it's blowing across the window. And I've never done that, have you? Never done a glass jar cover. Although I was thinking actually, I've got some plant pots that are very plain. You know, we've got the plants in the front. I was actually thinking of crocheting some nice bright covers, you know, make them look a bit more, because you can't afford all these ornamental covers. Goodness, that weather is dreadful. It's blowing the wind and the rain past me. And then we've all made them, haven't we? Penny square cushions. Although I gave mine to a friend of mine who was equally boho, who didn't have animals, yeah. Because my dog at the time was, you know, ripping holes in them. Yeah. What else? So we've got the dreaded black blanket, yeah. And the round cushions. So if you like anything like that, this is a book by, who's it by? It doesn't say. Oh, it looks like Tula or something. Oh, Tanya Eberhart. Tanya Eberhart. And it's called Home Decorations in Crochet. Once again, I think I only paid about £4 for the book. But if you are ordering from them, you do have to pay postage. But it's quite reasonable if you're in the UK, of course. Sorry to the people in the US. But I'm sure you can find it on another website in... No, Tea Cozy. On another one. Well, my rant this week is regarding Amazon. Not Amazon per se, because I buy so much stuff on Amazon. It's untrue. I'm like the Amazon queen. Never had a problem. In all of the 20 years I've been ordering from them, I think I've had to return 2 things, which again was no problem. I contacted them, they gave me a label, picked it up, and off it went. No problem. So this time I ordered, I'm out now and again and I get parcels that are delivered on the wrong day. I always try to order parcels to come when I'm in. But occasionally a parcel gets delayed or something and they want to deliver it when I'm out. Yeah? So unfortunately, if my neighbour's out at the same time, there's nowhere to put this parcel. So I ordered a post box thing to go outside my door. Yeah, it looked okay, everything looked fine, but when it arrived, it was okay, it was the right size and that, but the slot to put post in was just like the letterbox. And I thought, that is not what I wanted. So I thought I'll send it back. Then came the problem. It was ordered through a third party, with Amazon, but through a third party. You have to take it to an Every who delivered it to send it back and pay for it to be delivered back. Oh, really? So I get on to ours and I said, look, this is not on. I'm disabled, I've only got a mobility scooter, it's a big box. How am I supposed to get it to an Every shop when the 2 local ones, when I rang them up, said, oh, no, we don't deal with Every anymore. No. So, hello, problems, you're thinking, why do they not want to deal with Every anymore? So the nearest one was about a mile and a half, which would be doable if the parcel was small enough to go on my scooter. I would have set off on a nice day and took it. So I get in touch with Amazon. I mean, the man from Amazon was quite nice about it and he understood my predicament. And I said to him, well, this is, a bit silly this, because people must be in my situation that don't have transport and don't have an Every shop anywhere near them. So he said, right, I'll get in touch with the company. It was called Giantex. But the box certainly wasn't giant, yeah. But never mind, that's another story. When you think something ordered from Giantex UK is going to be big, don't you? The box is big, but the slit's small. So he gets in touch with them. And it was argy-bargy, I'm on this thing for about an hour. And he was a very nice man at Amazon, understood my problem altogether. Said, yeah, I'll arrange for him to pick it up and all that jazz. They're going to do it for you. Right, great. And they're going to send you an email, yeah. The email come. It said, will you not keep the box? We'll offer you 10%, which was less, £4 something, to keep it. No, don't want a box that's too small. And I've just ordered a bigger one, yeah. Or you need to ring up and arrange for somebody to pick it up for you. I said, well, that's not what Amazon said. Amazon said that you'd pick it up. You'd arrange for that. Oh, no. Did you not look at the dimensions when you ordered it? Surely you must have known how small it was when you ordered it. I'm like, well, I mistakenly thought that the slit would be big enough to put a small parcel through. Obviously not. But it's not labelled as that. If you actually look at the description, small print, it's actually labelled as a letterbox. I thought, well, I won't want one. I've got a letterbox in the door. Why would I want a letterbox? Unless you live in somewhere with a big long drive and the postman can't be bothered to walk up, you have a letterbox at the end of the drive, something like that. So I'm still stuck with this box now. So my niece is coming at the weekend, so hopefully if I can print a label out, I can maybe pay to get it sent back. Hello, why should I? But hello, that's another problem. So, and try and find an Every shop that's actually within striking distance and it's open on a Saturday. Because a lot of shops are not. So this is my problem. So if you are ordering from Amazon, be very, very careful if you're ordering through a third party. Because if you find a problem with it, or it's not, when it arrives it's not what you wanted, you're going to find it extremely difficult to send it back. Unless you've got a car and you've got an Every, whatever, if they've sent it Every, If they send it DPD, I don't know what you do then. But this one came every. You've got to make arrangements to send it back yourself. So that's my bit of a rant, you know. And I said, I have no transport. I said, I've got nobody locally that can take it for me. You know, I can't start knocking on neighbours' doors saying, excuse me, but will you take this back to Every for me? You know, I'm not that kind of person. I believe in being self-sufficient, you know. Thought, oh, really? So I'm now stuck with a big box in the hallway that I have to sort of fall over nearly on the way out to the door. How to make... I don't get angry very often. But it's at times like this when I have to recognise my disabilities. As you know, most of the time I get on with things. I try not to whinge or whine or, oh, woe is me or anything like that. If there's a task to do, I will tackle it. It might take me 3 times, 4 times as long as anybody able-bodied. But I won't give up and I will do it. And I will struggle, but I will do it. Occasionally I have to hold my hands up and say, no, I can't do it. It's like my greenhouse. Maybe if I tried my best to do this wooden greenhouse, I might be able to do it. But I know that, you know, I need somebody to hold it while I'm screwing up once, yeah. Anyway, my friend volunteered a husband. I'm not sure if he knows he's been volunteered yet, but he's got to put this grow house up for me. But, of course, I don't know when, because when you're at the mercy of somebody else, you have to be at their command, don't you? You know, you can't say, I want you to come at the weekend, I want you to come here, there, and everywhere. And actually, I don't want him to come this weekend because my niece is coming. And hopefully, we'll go shopping to a nice store. You know, one of the big superstores, because I can't get there either. And my little Marks and Spencers that I depend upon, I absolutely adore it. It doesn't do anything else but little food, you know, we're food outlet. It's allegedly closing down and they're building a big Marks superstore, nearly into Blackpool. Which would be not on the bus route, not on a route. No. Everything is geared to people with cars. Yes, I know I could probably order online, but I do like to go in the shops. See these offers, you know, when it's like meal deals and things like that. If you buy 2, you get this free or that. I like to see. And I actually never go in to somewhere like Marks and Spencer's with a menu. I just go and think, oh, that looks nice, or yeah, I think I'll have that for my tea tomorrow, or whatever. I'm not regimented. I don't have a menu planned for the week. I don't go in with, I want these, this, that, and that. I think on my feet. If I go in and I see something that's in the meat or the chicken section that looks nice and it's a good price or something like that, I think, yeah, okay, I can make so-and-so. So then I'll go back to the veg section and pick the veg out that goes with so-and-so that I'm going to make. But you can't... But I love going to a superstore now and again. My niece will take me. She's no bother. She'll probably do her own shopping at the same time. So we shall go to maybe Asda, Morrison's, wherever. I don't think I've got a Tesco around here. And I don't think I've got a Sainsbury's around here. So I think it'd be a choice between Morrison's and Asda. There are other stores you can shop at. Oh, plucking rain. My conservatory roof is made out of some kind of UPVC or something like that. And it absolutely hammers on it. And I've got a wind chime hanging just outside the conservatory window. And the other day when it was stormy, I thought it was going to break the window because it was bang, bang. I think I told you I ordered one that doesn't make a lot of noise. It's pretty and it moves around. It's like glass circles. Very, very pretty. And it just tinkles slightly. But it was absolutely bang, bang. And I thought, oh my God, I can't go out in all this weather. Get the ladder out and try and unhook it. Because my friend's husband hooked it onto the guttering on the conservatory. But it's just too further up for me to get to, yeah. Oh, these things are sent to try it. Anyway, I haven't had any lunch. I don't think I will bother with any lunch. I actually had porridge, good healthy porridge, except to put golden syrup on it. So not quite so healthy porridge. You know, you're supposed to have porridge without the golden syrup on the top, especially when you're diabetic like me. And I've got to behave because I've already been sent about 3 reminders for next week. I've got a blood test, you know, the HB1C. They do it every 3 months or so, you know, where they stab you. I keep going to make appointments, you know, because my back's, I don't like whinging, but my back's 10 times worse. And I've had a few really bad days with it recently. But then the day after, it's not too bad, and I think, no, I'm alright, I'm okay. I am the world's worst at making a doctor's appointment. Some people seem to love the doctor so much that they're never away, yeah? I'm quite the opposite. In fact, when I lived in Prestwich, I went to see the doctor once, and he said, oh, hello, how are you? He said, I haven't seen you for... He said, it must be over 12 months since I've seen you. He said, I said, well, when you see me, you know I've got a problem, yeah? I don't go with a little finger hurting or anything like, oh, I've got a headache, oh, my shoulder. I tend to think, if I've done something to my shoulder or sprained it or strained it, I tend to think I'll just rub something on it and I'll be fine tomorrow, you know. I'm from the old school, you know. I mean, I'm actually old enough to remember when my mum used to have to pay her every sort of penny or something a week to pay for the doctor. Because I was actually born before the NHS. Would you believe I'm that old? I'm 18 a couple of months, you know. So I'm that old. I was born pre. My mum had to pay the midwife for me to be delivered, yeah. She probably regrets that bill. My brother, when he was born, he was a dreadful delivery. I mean, back in the day, you had a midwife, didn't go to hospital. And my poor mum had a breech birth at home. And first baby, I mean, I had a breech birth, but we won't go into that. And she struggled, really struggled. So she didn't want any more kids, to be truthful, after my brother was born. And he was a crier, and he cried, and he cried, and he cried, And then my dad had to go into the army because it was the war. So he came home on leave, apparently, when it was VJ Day or something, or VE Day or something. And he must have been a bit on the happy side, and my mother must have been a bit careless. Me. So my dad was actually still technically in the army when I was born. And we still got a letter I think my brother's family have got it. And he wrote and said, if it's the same as Colin, if it cries the same as Colin, I'm re-enlisted, I'm not coming home. And my mum had wrote back and said, it's all right, this one sleeps, you can come home. And apparently I was such a great baby, you know. So she didn't really regret paying for me to be born. Yeah. Oh dear, yeah. It was, yeah, I can remember my mum had to pay for the doctor to come out. And then it was a question of, you know, you don't need the doctor. No, you're fine, you're okay. We'll rub it better, we'll make it right. And I had juvenile arthritis back in the day. Still got arthritis. But back then they called it growing pains. No such thing as growing pains. You don't have growing pains. And I used to scream and cry with my legs. I still do. Scream and cry privately with my legs because I've got arthritis up. And the doctor used to have to come out in those days. They used to come out. They actually visited you at home. Can't get that these days. And my mum used to have to call him out. And I'd be crying, screaming, my legs are hurting and all that. They didn't give you anything. You didn't get any pills or potions or anything. And my mum was told to knit me woolly socks. Keep her legs warm, knit wool socks. I am allergic to wool. I can't wear it. I'm like, itch. Can't wear it, can't bide it, can't deal with it next to my skin. I can't do with it. I stopped writing on Ravelry, actually. You know, when you go on where you show your projects and things like that. Because I got so sick of these women saying, oh, it's very nice, but it's icky acrylic. Oh, what are you wearing icky acrylic for? Why don't you get something decent? And I'm like, but I can't wear wool. And they're like, oh, alpaca won't itch. Merino won't itch. Yes, it does. If you are allergic to wool, it doesn't matter if it's alpaca, merino, off the back of some obscure Peruvian goat. It itches. It's the mere fact it's wool that gives you like hives everywhere. Oh, so I gave up because I got such nasty comments, like people said, oh yeah, your crochet's lovely or your knit is lovely, but, there was always a but, oh, you've used terrible acrylic. Oh, how can you do that? Or have I made a baby's cardigan? One woman actually said to me, it would melt on a baby's skin if it was in a fire or something. I'm thinking, if a baby was in a fire, that's the last thing you would be thinking about. You'd be thinking about rescuing the baby. And I'm sorry, but I don't have any open fire in my house. When I had a baby, I didn't have an open fire. And I thought, I'm a tired mother with a baby that never stopped crying, because he didn't. He was a terrible baby. So sorry, son, if you're watching. He was an awful baby, and he cried, day, night, never got any sleep. So the last thing I wanted to do was stand at the sink, hand washing a woolly little cardigan that he'd puked all over, It was like, ugh, into the washer. And I'm sure you feel the same way if you're a mum with unless you get a baby that's good, sleeps, gives you plenty of time to stand hand washing at the sink. But I didn't, sadly. I had my brother. Now, my brother had two girls who were perfect babies like I was. I was the kind of baby you could dump her anywhere. And I go to anybody, stick me on anybody's knee, and I was happy. My two nieces were the same. Happy babies. My son, oh, no. Scraped the place down. Nobody came near him. Go away. I got accused by my mother-in-law of making my son hate her. Excuse me, but my baby is months old. I cannot influence a baby to hate anybody. My baby just hates everybody. He just doesn't want anybody else except his mum. Oh, and there was one lady that I worked with. Oh, his grandma. His grandma could do anything with him, yeah. And there was one lady I worked with, and she'd had 4 kids. She was a maternal type of lady. And when he was scream, and I couldn't do anything with him, she said, give him here. And she'd pick him up and she'd go, and he'd go, oh, as if to say, at last there's somebody here who knows what to do. Because he was my first baby. I'd had no experience of babies at all. I'd never anything with babies. No younger brothers and sisters. No younger cousins that I used to babysit or anything like that. He was my first baby in every way, shape and form. And my ex-husband was the same. He'd never seen a baby in his life. He didn't know what it is. It's crying. I said, don't call it it's your son. He said, hey, it's crying, here. Go to your mum, it's crying, here. Change a nappy. Woo-hoo-hoo. Not a modern man, no. And one of my friends, she had 3 little girls, one after the other. Not planned, but one after the other. She had 3 little girls. Her husband was superb. He'd come home from work, roll his sleeves up. What do you want me to do? He'd either bathe them or he'd start the dinner or something like that while she was bathing them. And honestly, he was a perfect husband. But sadly, he was killed quite young with a boating accident. He used to do canoeing, and he'd gone to Wales doing this canoeing or something, and he was in this rapid water. And the canoe tipped over, as it's wont to do. But before anybody realised what had happened was, as his canoe tipped over, his head hit a rock. So sadly he drowned, yeah. Very sad it was. He was only young. The kids were only young. Awful accident. Terrible thing to happen to him. Yeah. His girls grew up. They're beautiful girls. But he these sort of things happen. You cannot plan, you can't live your life can you not doing something that he loved canoeing. You cannot live your life not doing something just in case a freak accident might happen, you know. It's just one of those things. Anyway, I'm going to go now and do a little bit more on my boho crochet, my hexagon jacket. See if I can do the other side to match that side. And then work out how many rows down the middle I've got to do before I join it together, if you know what I mean. I'm actually using a cardigan that I made. It was white with bright coloured boho spirit, you may have remembered it, as a template. Because you know I don't follow patterns. I set off. I couldn't remember how you did 6. Actually, I had it in my head. I needed 5 into this circle. Turns out I need 6 corners into this circle, yeah. So I had to have a look at a pattern. I actually looked at Craft and Cuppa's video just to see how she started it off. So, and then after that I've got my cardigan spread out using it as a template. I think I've told you before, that's how I learned to crochet at 13. I didn't have a pattern. There wasn't patterns back in the day. There wasn't even this. All there was mats, doilies, little baby cardigans, if you were lucky, antimacassars, stuff like that. I'll show you a book I've got one day, a Victorian crochet book. That's all. Garments, no, people didn't crochet garments. Yeah. So I spread on the table a sweater that fitted me. And I actually crocheted in my own. I didn't know how to shape. I'd only just learned how to crochet. I just crocheted and then sort of fudged my way around into some kind of shaping. It was very, very dodgy, my first sweater, but I was so pleased with it. And I actually did it in 3-ply. That's your lace weight if you're in America. I actually did it in a very fine hook and 3-ply. There's people in America that think 3 weight is fine. Yeah, this is like 1 weight, I think. And that's how I started crocheting. And everything I made, I didn't have a pattern for. And when in the late 60s, I think it was Lister that started, Lister Lavender, actually did some Mary Quantish type. Crochet was all the fashion back in the late 60s. All these designers, we had boutiques back in the 60s. 70s. Great shops. They were individual. You weren't like going to Primark and buying something that 29,000 people in the world were wearing. You went to a boutique. They were little single-owned shops. They weren't part of a conglomerate or anything. And you would get individual clothes. We're back to Carnaby Street. Back to the cheesecloth and embroidered cheesecloth. They would import them from India. Even back then, things came from India. And you wouldn't see this. Nobody would be wearing the same thing that you were wearing, which I loved. I loved being individual. I did not like anybody wearing the same thing as me. I was weird back then. And if you went to these boutiques, there was one in Oldham that I used to crochet for. I used to crochet the dresses and the hot pants and everything like that. And you would get something really individual. Yes, you would have to pay. Because back then, clothing really was a lot more expensive compared to wages than it is now. Even shoes. I mean, I can remember going for school shoes for my son. People complain, but going for school shoes for my son, back then, it was a lot of money for a pair of Clark's school shoes. There was no cheap shoe outlets back in the day, nothing like that. I mean, people today say, oh, we can't afford this, we can't afford that. It was a heck of a lot harder for us back in the day. That's why we didn't have a lot of clothes, because you chose wisely. You would choose something that you knew you were going to wear, and you knew you would get a lot of wear out of it, and you knew it would still be in fashion. There was no fast fashion, it's out of fashion next year. No, there was none of that. None of that. You chose what you liked and you wore it. And you maybe wore it for 5 years. And back then there wasn't the catty comments that you got. I mean, youngsters today get catty comments. They get criticised if they're not wearing the latest fashion, not got the latest brand, They're not wearing a labelled thing. They're not got the latest trainers on. When I was young, we never noticed things like that. You would think, oh, I like her dress. And back then, a lot of people made their own clothes. I did. I made a lot of my own clothes back then, just so that I could be different, so that nobody would have the same as me. You know, people would say, oh, I like that, I like that. I say, yeah, I made it. Oh, have you got a pattern? No. This is why I irritate the heck out of people today, because if I make something and I come on here and I'm wearing it and people say, oh, I love that, what you got? Have you got a pattern? Well, how did you do it? Top of my head. And it's not that I'm being mean, it's just the way that I do things. And people say you should write patterns. I can't write patterns because I use UK terminology. I use UK wool, which is a different thickness to America. I use UK terminology, which is different terminology than America. I use different sizes because my size isn't big enough for America. Sorry, America, I'm not being rude to you, but you have got bigger girls over there. And I couldn't size up. I do for me. All I would do with my size, I would maybe tell you one size either way by altering a hook or something like that. But I couldn't gauge it up to a 5X or something like that. I mean, I did get asked once by one lady. She said, I've got this pattern and it only goes up to such a size. Can you size it up for me up to a 5X? I said, no, I can't. It's not my pattern. It's copyright. I can't do that. I said, get in touch with the designer. I said, and see if she can size it up to a 5X for you. I said, or look on Ravelry. There are plenty patterns on there that go up to 5X, 6X, whatever. Yeah, but it's not what I want. I want this one. And I'm looking at the pattern thinking, well, it's not really one that anybody 5X should be wearing. You know, it's a shape. Excuse me, but you know, it's a little fitted thing. It's kind of meant for the size it's been designed for, you know, some sweet little thing. But I didn't say that to her, of course. I just said, no, ask the designer. I can't do it for you. And she got quite stroppy with me in the end, actually. Oh, if you don't want to do it for me, I'm unsubscribing. I said, right, bye. Bye. While we're on the subject of subscribing, I'm going to do a bit of begging here. The last video I had 300 views, 300 and something views, which thank you very much if you were one of the people who viewed. But I only had 30 thumbs up. YouTube rates me by thumbs up, comments, whatever. They rate me a little bit by the views, but they want to know people are actually watching, people are giving me a thumbs up because they like it, things like that. So it doesn't take 2 minutes of your time. It doesn't mean anything to you. It means a lot to me if you put a thumbs up. It's just a little thing where you just click like. It's got a little symbol with a thumb, like, yeah. If you do that, it means an awful lot to me. I mean, I barely get paid, I've said this before, but I don't do the videos for money. I'm not one of these people who, I want 10,000 subscribers, I want 15,000 subscribers because I want to pay my rent with the money I get from YouTube. No, I'm not one of those people. I'm happy if I do get any money, which I very rarely do, but I'm happy if I do. And it would be nice to just get a little bit of money now and again, you know. If people like my videos and stick the thumbs up. And YouTube said, oh, we'll recommend this lady to other people. Other people might want to watch this weird woman talking about nothing and whatnot and things, yeah. But they might like me, so I might grow my channel, as they say. Yeah. And as you know, I don't have Patreon or Patreon or whatever you call it. I don't have that. I don't have Super Chat. I don't have anything like that. So it's free to watch me. Absolutely free to watch me. But I do have a Ko-fi link. If you do, or you would, maybe like to buy me a coffee. A couple of people have done that, and I'm very, very grateful that they have. Thank you very much. It's not obligatory at all. It's up to you if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, fine. If you hate what I've done and you think not giving her a coffee, she can, yeah. But as I say, if you want to buy me a coffee, there's a link underneath. It says Ko-fi, K-O-F-I. As I say, totally your choice. Anyway, I've been on here yapping for about an hour, so I think it's time I gave you all a break and went. I'm going to do a little bit more on my hexagon jacket. So if the weather keeps being rubbish like it's been, and I can't do my other chores, yes, I know I could mop the kitchen floor while it's raining, and I know I could hoover while it's raining. But do I really want to? No. So anyway, I'm going to bid you farewell and hope you like the video. So I hope you're having a nicer day than me, and I hope it's not raining where you are. So bye for now. This is Janet, Urban Gypsy Crochet, saying farewell.